Hello, this is Marshally, and welcome to my garden diary. Today is the 3rd of July 2021, and I'm looking at a plant today that I should have looked at quite a bit ago because it has been blooming for a while, but it's at the corner of the garden that I don't come to very often. So, yeah, that's why it has taken me this long, because as we can see, there are quite a lot of spent blooms there, but it has quite a lot more blooms, so that's quite okay. The bloom spikes on this plant are quite long, and they also produce secondary spikes. So this uh, here, that would be the main. Let me turn a bit. That would be the main bloom that it had, and as you can see, that is already spent. And then what happened here is that one, then that's a secondary bloom, and it's for not being the main bloom or the main flower spike. Then you can see that it's quite large, and there's quite a bit going on in there. So as you can see, that is not a trick of the camera. Those are the colors that are actually on this plant. It is purple and blue, and a really nice blue. Um, yeah, I don't know if I have any other blue plant in my garden. Good, it's not totally blue, but this is the nearest I've seen to blue in plants. So yeah, this is a unique one. It's called Delphinium, and it's quite tall. As you can see, it is tall, tall, tall. The tallest spike is over, um, I think it's at least 2 meters. So let me see. The sun is going to be a bit, yeah, but so our fence is about um, a meter and a half, I think, tall, and the bloom goes spike goes way, way, way past that. I think I don't know. It's between two trees, and that's kind of blocking, and the sun is there. But it goes way up to. Uh, Let me. Right, look at that. that's the that's the bloom right there. Yeah, that's a good one. Look how tall that is. It is the tallest bloom I have ever seen. Yeah, it's tall. Okay, so this is a pretty good performer. Let me see if I can get this here. So we have a bumblebee having fun in there. Yeah. So these are quite showy spikes. And we've had this in the garden for quite a while. I don't know how many years, I can't remember how many years, but originally it was in another place in the garden, and we moved it over here to this side, and so it gets this is a shady side of the garden. For the whole morning it will be in the shade, and in the summer when we have the longest days here, then in the afternoon it will get some full sun. So this is mostly in the shade, and it's between two trees. It's between a maple tree here and another tree that I have not a clue what it is, but we're leaving it there. And this is a tree I cut back in spring, and even though I cut it back, well, I shouldn't say even though, I should say because I cut it back, it grew so much leaves, and it's bushier, and it looks really nicer. So um, the delphinium is cushioned, I would say, between those, and so it's being quite protected. And because it's between these two trees, it's protected from the wind because it can get quite windy here. And so that is one of the reasons why we don't have to stake it, because you can imagine if the flower spike or the stems are so long and they're not that big, as you can see, then if we did not have it here, then we would have to do some major staking. To be honest, I don't think we would be able to stake it because that is so tall there. So it's in the perfect position to perform well because it doesn't have to worry about the wind. It's protected from both sides by that tree there and by the other. And then it has the fence in the background, so there's no wind coming from there. And if the wind comes from where I'm standing now, then it's no problem. So this is perfect. It's a perfect place for this. And so I would encourage you, if you have this plant in your garden, to really think about where you want to put it. You can see how tall it can get. So you might want to make sure that you're protecting it from wind, because if you don't, you will not get all those long, beautiful spikes because they will break before they bloom. Well, if you have windy, if it's windy where you live. So you need to shelter it from strong wind. And actually, it doesn't like to be dried out, but I absolutely do not pay any attention to watering for this plant because we don't have a watering system at this side of the garden. I haven't done any watering. It could be that when we sprinkle the lawn that some water might go over there, but I don't worry about this plant at all. As I said, I do not come over this side of the garden very often. So, but it typically doesn't like to dry out. So yeah, when the spikes are finished blooming, like that one, I'll come around today and I need to go to the garden and do some stuff with deadheading plants. So this is one that I definitely need to do some deadheading with the spent stems or stalks that are there. So I will do that. So that's one of the care that you need to do to deadhead spent blooms or bloom spikes, so that the secondary spikes like this one will get more energy. And look, there's one secondary spike there. There's another one down there going into the maple tree there. And when I deadhead it, then I will, oh, there's another one here on this spike. So there are actually three. There's another one there. So it's a good producer of blooms. So when I am finished, I'll cut out that part and then give these one, because as you can see, those are open, but here we have some ones that are not open yet, so they will get more nutrients, and because the plant won't spend time or energy trying to produce seeds, and I definitely don't want any more seeds from this. So this plant can be toxic, especially when it is young, and the seeds are toxic as well. So if you have it in the garden, just be careful, where you place it, that you don't have kids running around or pets that can get, that will eat this unintentionally. So just be careful about that. When it is finished blooming, I will cut it way back. I will cut it. I won't cut it right down until maybe no. I won't cut it right down. It will just die back by itself because it's good. The leaves are quite attractive. I like the leaves, but when it's finished blooming, I will cut it back just to the last flower spike there, and then it will just be there until it dies completely back, and it comes back every year. And in spring, if I wanted more, I don't have to plant the seeds. In spring, if I want to, I can divide the plant because it has rhizomes. If you look down there, yeah, this is a jungle down there with lots of forget-me-not seedlings. But it's a rhizome. So what I'll do in spring, if I want to, I can divide it and put it in different place. That might not be a bad idea actually, because it's quite tall. It's just that the other places in the garden are not as protected as here, so it won't necessarily do so well. I would have to do too much staking, so I might just leave it here. I don't know. I don't think I want to have a second plant of this. But what I do or can do to keep it rejuvenated is that I go down and I still divide it, and then the woody older part of the plant, I will discard the heart. The plant has a heart, and the heart would be the oldest part of the plant. So I would discard that part and keep the little plants that are around the heart, so that I will always have a younger plant and not just keep depending on the original older plant to survive. And yeah, so that's what you can do with this plant. Again, a lovely plant to have in the garden, very unique flowers or blooms, very, very, very beautiful. Make sure that if you want it to do well, that you protect it from too much wind. And yeah, highly recommend it. Again, just be careful, it can be toxic. And yeah. Okay, so that's it for today. Oh yeah, I just one more thing. So they have different there are different varieties of this plant. So it can actually grow from 80 centimeter. I mean, it can be 80 to 200 centimeters tall, so to 2 meter. So this is a taller type, I'm assuming. So there are different types. So if you want the taller type, then you just have to make sure you do your research and ask when you go to buy it in the garden center how tall it grows to. But I must say, having said that, there are some plants that are in quotation meant to be short or not so tall plants, but if given the right conditions, they can perform and grow very, very tall. And I must say too, one thing that might have forced this plant to grow so tall is because it's nestled between these two taller trees. And when plants are nestled between taller plants, they tend to rise up or to grow taller so that they can get their share of sunshine. So that's another trick. If you want your plants to grow taller than expected, you can put them among taller plants, and that will force them to grow taller, so that because they're reaching for the sun. Just make sure if you're doing that the plant has enough space, so you're not crowding it. They're not like these ones here, they're not crowded at all. Everybody has their space, so nobody's getting starved for food down there. And so the root system is strong enough, the plant is strong enough, and it wants to survive, so it will push up to get as much sun as it can get. So yeah, okay, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that if you can, you will be able to have this lovely plant in your garden. And if not, then I am more than happy to share mine with you.